It is now my pleasure to welcome today's speaker, Molly D'Agostino. Molly graduated from SUNY Poly College of Arts and Science in 2016 with a bachelor's degree in interdisciplinary studies, and her story is unique. I've had a chance to hear it. You're in for a treat. It's a marathon of events, from scraping it together on the road as a hired gun musician to taking on law school from the back of a tour bus to finally achieving her dreams of becoming her own artist. After graduating from SUNY Poly, she went on to earn her JD degree from Syracuse University College of Law and now owns 2 companies. Truly amazing. She's also a longtime guitarist, jamming alongside rock, pop, and country superstars like Frankie Ballard and the All-American Rejects. Please join me in welcoming Molly.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Andrea. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to see all your faces today. First and foremost, I'm the most casual attorney that you'll ever meet. I'm a rocker, as you can tell by my hair. The judges love it. I look forward to having an open discussion today about my life and, of course, how I can, be of advice or anything, to take out of this for you guys. So if anything that you want me to elaborate on, have questions, please feel free to ask me. I am an open book. So with that, I'll begin with where it all started for me kind of professionally in high school, where it starts for probably a lot of us in different ways. I always had a passion for music since I went to my first rock concert, which is a Trans-Siberian Orchestra, which is like, Christmas music on steroids, basically. And I fell in love with it. And I knew that it was something that I wanted to do. In high school, I was super fortunate. Locally here, I went to VVS, and VVS is one of the only schools in the country that has a full recording studio in the school. So I was able to learn how to record, sort of get better, at least in my own head, I was getting better, and really build out my passion for music and playing music. I played guitar back then, I still do, but and in high school, I formed my first little garage band that I listen back to it now and I cringe, but at the time I was a rock star. Somehow that band managed to get a record deal when I think it was my junior year of high school. And so I got out there, I got to tour a little bit, I got to experience the country, a lot of different people, which was really exciting for me. I knew that this was something that I wanted to pursue. So after doing a little bit of touring with that band and, of course, fortunately being successful as a professional musician, there was always somebody in the back of my head, which was my mother, who said, music is wonderful, and if you can pursue it as a career, you're rich in luck, but also you should think about your professional career, and if there's anything that you can do to prepare yourself in case you decide that being a rock star isn't actually where you'll end up, which, wise words. So as I was touring and sort of learning myself as a musician, I also had in the back of my mind, how can I make this a business and a sort of a formalized passion for myself to be successful and also have my bills paid, which sometimes music, it's a little rocky, but soon after, sort of when I was in my senior year of high school, I was exposed to this hired gun lifestyle, which is basically where big bands that all of you know, especially like people like Taylor Swift, all these guys, they have a whole group of musicians sort of supporting the artist, but not necessarily part of the band per se, but also part of the band. So it's a lot of sort of being on call and sort of being ready to go at the drop of a hat to do music. And I thought that when you're 17 years old, that's so exciting. So I jumped right into that and I started pursuing that upon graduating from high school. So then once high school graduation came, once again, my mom in the back of my head, which, I'm thankful for now, said, listen, we still have to be serious. We still have to think about college and your future beyond music, or perhaps even incorporate music into your studies, which I didn't know how that was going to be possible. Because in the back of my head also, since I was a kid, I always was interested in being an attorney just because I love to argue, and my parents will also corroborate that. So I was able to tour quite a few colleges in New York and beyond, seeking a place that I could call home that would not only embrace me as a student, but embrace all my craziness outside of being a student and all this music stuff, right? So upon my journey, I really didn't even know what I wanted to major in. Like there were so many questions that all students go through, and probably all you can relate to is, what am I doing? Especially when you're 18 years old, like you don't know anything, you really don't. So upon stumbling upon SUNY Poly, actually my dad is also an alumni here. I was introduced to, I think my very first meeting was with Professor Boylan. She took me into her office and she said, Molly, I have the program for you. And I was exposed to the IDS program, which is Interdisciplinary Studies. And why this was so game-changing for me as someone who was a professional outside of school already, because I was still pursuing music, I was still traveling, was that this program, I was able to build a custom degree that met every interest that I have, whether it be music, whether it be business, whether it be pre-law. So I found myself here at SUNY Poly, which was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my whole life. Not only because of the quality of education that I got here, but truly because if you're not invested and interested in your education, I find that it's harder to take it seriously. When you're not taking things seriously, you're not getting every dollar and every hour and every minute out of that education. So creating my program here in IDS studies, I was able to mend together all of my interests, which I thought was impossible. And it was impossible at almost every other school that I toured, but not here. They found a place for me among just a universe that was still so fresh to me. Even though I was fortunate enough to tour and travel and learn the world, you still don't know what you don't know at 18 years old. So after my meeting with Professor Boylan, we figured out how to fit me in and got me a schedule and got me started. And not only was there high benefit in the program that I was able to build for myself, but there was also extreme acceptance, flexibility, and just overall almost family approach when I got here to SUNY Poly. And my professors will probably remember there's a lot of flexibility with me, especially. So, because oftentimes I was leaving class to go catch a flight to go play music. And I had to say, Professor Hebor, you're not going to believe this, but my homework, it might be an hour late, but I swear I was on stage last night. And Professor Hebor would tell me, Molly, okay. And then he would say, what can you do to do better next time? And believe me, I carried that with me for my whole life. So I really feel that what came after SUNY Poly was really only possible because of what was possible here at SUNY Poly. And I think that that's really important and critical when you're thinking about education and shaping your future. And a lot of people today do move on to graduate school, as I did. I ended up at law school at Syracuse University, but I would not have had the tools necessary to be able to pursue all of these things while pursuing a career as a musician if I did not have the flexibility and the family that I had here at SUNY Poly. And a lot of faces here watching and in this room, I thank you endlessly for giving me that, that leisure and luxury. So after I finished here at SUNY Poly, actually of note, part of the process at IDS was we had to complete a capstone project. This is kind of my third interest of my three core interests between law, music, and business was business. And so in our capstone project, basically we were tasked with just coming up with something that was impactful, that can impact your community, impact your career, and really sort of guide you to leave SUNY Poly and become, immersed in the professional world. And so my capstone project was actually starting a business. And I started a business called Our Song Co., which was a professional songwriting firm that leveraged technology to create a custom song in 2 minutes or less. That was my idea. And I was able to take that idea, which was just a project, of my major that I needed to do to graduate, and actually turn it into a business that turned into income and all kinds of things to help support me through law school and continue to help support my crazy career of music. So things like that were just a really cherry on the sundae for me as to why this education was so impactful for me. And the other great thing about my capstone project is a company, there's many opportunities here at SUNY Poly to do, extracurricular activities that you wouldn't think of that would have a major impact on your future. And the capstone was one of them for me. I was able to compete at the New York State Business Plan competition and then at the national level in Chicago, presenting this business idea. And from my work and the awards that we won doing that here at SUNY Poly and beyond, I was offered a full tuition scholarship to law school based on that project alone. So I didn't understand the gravity at that time when I was sitting in my capstone class waiting to be done, but no, not really, of just how impactful every step of this process was to my future. And like I said, the biggest advice I could give, especially to incoming students, is don't take any moment, any exercise, any task for granted, because you don't know when that's going to come back and award you with a full scholarship to law school. Believe me, I was as shocked as probably some of my professors are right now hearing this, but I'm so fortunate, and forever, we'll thank SUNY Poly for all of that. And moving into my professional career, of course, as you know, I did go to law school. I did follow through with that, and I passed the New York State bar somehow. But I did, and I cannot also be more clear of how valuable it is to have an interdisciplinary sort of backing for yourself, because you have no idea where life is going to take you. So as an attorney, I continued my business of Ars Co, which actually recently I just sold, I think about 1.5 years ago, which was really exciting. To have a company that someone actually wants was great. And I still had sort of the juices in me to continue to grow businesses. It was really something I was passionate about. And also law school, of course, helped with that. It helped in different ways. But once again, would not have that foundation, I don't think, if I didn't really was given the opportunity to do so here. So after law school, actually about a month after I took the bar exam, I founded my second company, which is called Funding Ninja. And what we do is we support nonprofit organizations all over the country and sometimes the world via strategy, via grants, via anything to grow their mission, with the end goal of providing as many services as we can to people who just simply cannot access them. So I was super interested in, anything nonprofit, of course, because I had a little bit of actually grant writing mentors here on campus, which was another skill I used to pay my bills while on a tour bus. And so I wanted to capitalize on that, the stuff that I learned here about building a business, thanks to my capstone, and then of course, law. So from there, of course, I never really gave up on music. I've always wanted to do it. I've always really been passionate about it. I never stopped. And I think that's another valuable thing that SUNY Poly gave to me. A lot of people at SUNY Poly, and especially in my class, were working adults. They were adults that had lives and came to better themselves, whether it be through auditing a class or actually pursuing a degree. And the flexibility that I had to continue my career without having to take 4 years off, which is tough. It's really tough to leave a career, especially when you're doing exciting things like with a guitar and all that. So to be able to maintain that and keep up my professional career going through school was really, really critical to my success in music afterwards. So once I had Funding Ninja and graduated law school, I kind of still continued to go and dive through the music world. And what I learned is I really like being my own boss. So I gave up the hired gun life and I pursued my own solo career. And basically, which made me have to sing, which I don't necessarily love, and you're not going to hear it today. I'm going to spare you of that. But the singing and being my own boss from my companies, it really helped me translate and be more successful in music. So imagine being your own attorney at the table with the record labels. Nobody's going to take advantage of you. Nobody. And actually, this past year, I got my first Billboard Top 40 hit single, which was really exciting. And all the while doing all of these ideas. And I'm super excited that actually last month, I just launched my third business, which is called Blue Room Talent, with another professional singer who's highly acclaimed in the rock world, to help other musicians like me pursue education, pursue understanding your rights at the table, understanding how to go to radio, understanding distribution chains, understanding all those things that I had no idea. But I had a foundation and pieces of it, thanks to SUNY Poly, and then I was able to then apply what I learned here into all my other universes. So all in all, I've been super fortunate and lucky to have gotten an IDS, especially framework here at school, to be able to still maintain 3 different buckets of career, whether it be on stage, whether it be in my office, or whether it be out there helping other musicians, from a business standpoint. So I've been extremely fortunate. And of course, I'm sure a lot of you are also extremely fortunate to be here. And I cannot thank you all enough, the staff, the faculty, everybody who's played a role in my career, everybody who's played a role in, making this place as great as it is. But most importantly, especially my IDS family, like you guys have gone above and beyond to ensure that people like me could find a place to fit in. So if there's anything that I can leave you all with, it's once again, don't take any moment for granted. And if there's a passion that you have that you would like to pursue, never count it out, especially on this campus for sure.